Hi there, guys. Um, this I have. I think I have one more video after this in me to make today. But I wasn't really sure how to put this one together, except just to go ahead and say it. Hope it makes sense to you, ladies. You all are smart. Y'all listen to me. I know. I know it'll make sense. Um, Kevin Samuels. Oh, you all. If you watch my channel, you already know. I'm not a fan. Never was a fan of his. Or the type of rhetoric that he has. He spewed the red pill, um, these other men who follow in his footsteps. I, me and a lot of women, of course, are just not fans. However, I have to say, I really, when you look at it, when you look at it from a deeper position, you'll see as you see things beginning to kind of fall into place, you'll see Kevin Samuels had a purpose. I mean, we all have a purpose and a destiny and so forth. Um, so much of it, our life's purpose and all those things depends on what we do, how we do it, and the decisions that we make, where our life is going to go and lead us and so forth. And so I don't know if it was, Kevin Samuels' ultimate purpose or destiny in life to do what he did and, so forth with his podcast and his, I don't know. I really, I don't know, of course. I can't say that. But whatever uh, his real true life destiny was, this became a part of it. He has a legacy. He will always have a legacy at this point. He will always be remembered, loved, and hated for this legacy that he has left, depending on the person. um, but this whole movement, we've heard a long time about moving into the fifth dimension. People don't really talk about that so much anymore. Uh, we heard about, you know, the divine feminine and the this is now the time and age of the divine feminine. I absolutely believe that. Um, I believe there's so much to that. I believe that we are really just beginning to hit the tip of the iceberg. Matter of fact, I don't even think we've hit the iceberg yet. I think we're still traveling to the iceberg. But at the end of the day, um, the purpose of the divine feminine, the earth, the creation, getting things back in order, putting things back in order, things have been so out of order and flipped upside down for so very long. And it's caused not only harm and damage to women, harm and damage to the earth, uh, harm and damage to a lot of men. I mean, it's just been a shit show, for lack of a better word, with things the way that they have been. And I think we're at the beginning stages of seeing the divine feminine began to fix this mess. It's a big mess. It can be done. I believe it will be done. I don't know where I'll be when it all totally begins to manifest. But we're seeing it. We're seeing it if we look through our spiritual eyes. We're beginning to see it. And so at the end of the day, that rhetoric that has been put out there about black women, especially all women, but black women especially, because I think black women, not to sound biased or whatever, but I think black women are in a special position, not only in this time, but on the earth, and those who have an ear will get that. And if you don't worry about it. And so with that being the case, I think the attacks against black women, especially, have been for a purpose. It's unfortunate that it has happened the way it's happened. But at the end of the day, all things work together for the good. And this ain't gonna be no religious nothing. I would really more so ask you to keep a spiritual mind, as I talk about this, so that you could see what I'm talking about. Um, Let me see if I can explain this the way it was brought to me in my spirit a few weeks ago. Everything has an energetic push. It has every movement, every uh, thing that really goes on this earth has an energetic push to it that propels whatever is going to happen next from that movement or from that time, from that whatever, to go forth. And so this whole male movement of hating black women, saying nasty, ugly, derogatory things about black women, boxing black women, making a spectacle of black women, and putting black women basically in the box of this is who they are. This is who they are. And we know that we saw that because all this language, females, modern women, all of these things were talking about black women. Uh, Once again, we know this if you have any type of spirit. I mean, these guys are not that smart to where we can't figure out, we don't know who y'all talking about. Because I mean, they have made known their preferences. So we know they're not talking about them. Even though, as we already know, those women do the same exact things and it's okay with them. Um, but getting back to the push, getting back to the energetic push, everything is energy. We already know that. Everything is energy. Everything that consists in this universe has an energetic um component. Like it's made up of energy. And so all of that movement, all of that's been all the way up to Kevin Samuels and still today, and all of that was a certain flow that, whether it got them to a good place or a bad place, it still pushed men, especially black men, because they were the ones mostly pushing it. But it pushed them all, because white men were in that too. The whole MGTOW and all this kind of stuff. We know where those things started. Um, just at the end of the day, suppressing women, patriarchy, the whole, I mean, all of that, it's all intertwined in that all together. And so, for the good or for the bad, it pushed men to a certain level. Um, Now it's a divine feminine's time. And the energy that is coming forth from women collectively, especially black women, but women collectively, is taking us somewhere. And once it dispels the lies, once it blows the cover off of agendas and lies, and people begin to say, because it covered up so much. I mean, not only did this male movement of what they were doing, not only did it, affect women, black women, it affected marriage, because you have a literal push out here of them telling men, leave these females alone, and marriage don't benefit men, and blah blah blah, and all of this crap. So it affected marriage, it affected homes, men not taking care of their children, men not stepping up to the plate and even being in their children's lives, whether they're with the mother or not. And of course, I'm not saying all men. I'm not saying all at all, because we know that's not true. But the ones who participated in it, you know, it affected, what did I say? Broken homes. It affected marriage. It affected the children. It affected so much. And the divine feminine's purpose at this time is to bring things back together. It's what a woman does. It's what feminine energy does. It brings back together. It heals. It restores. It recovers. It fixes. It mends. It puts back together. And in so many ways, it decorates it up and makes it way more beautiful, you know. Now the divine feminine has a big job to do. But through the direction of women and where women are going, and I have to say, I think I've said it before, women today, these Gen Xers, no, Gen Zers, um, man, these women in their 20s and their 30s right now are on fire. They are they are not taking any crap from these men. They are not putting up with the stuff that even we put up with. They are, I mean, they're on a whole different level. And I really truly have to say that I truly believe that if it wasn't for these new women with these new mindsets, where they've seen the grandmas, they've seen the aunties, they've seen the stuff that happened with their mom, and they are determined, and they see what's going on with the men and how the men talking. And I mean, there are some of these young women, like my daughter, who isn't quite an adult yet, but still, she's grown up in a generation where it wasn't no gentleman. It wasn't no, it wasn't, even a guy trying to fake and pretend. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just straight whole bitch, whatever, suck my thing, whatever, get the hell out of my house, whatever. Got women fighting over each other, women competing. Well, I mean, like, what I'm trying to say is my daughter didn't grow up, and a lot of these women have not grown up in a time of chivalry and where men were even going after marriage and trying to pursue marriage. I mean, at the generation that at least my daughter is in, is like men have been adamantly against marriage, against women, against relationships, against child support, against taking care of their child, against wearing condoms. I mean, but that's been an all the time thing, honestly. But I mean, I sidestepped a minute to say these young women today are nowhere near on the level of catering to men, on the level of trying to please men. They're not on the matter of fact. I purposely, as I've said before, I purposely didn't read my daughter fairy tales. I purposely didn't tell my daughter anything, stories or any of that about no prince coming to save you on no white horse and all of this. My daughter really didn't, even though she was afraid of dolls and little stuffed animals for whatever reason. I don't know how that happened. But she really never wanted them. And so I've never really pushed it or anything like that. But she didn't grow up with dolls and baby dolls and feeding the baby and, oh, let's put the baby on the bed and let's have a tea party and blah blah. My daughter never grew up with any of that. And like I say, maybe if she liked dolls and stuffed animals, um, maybe that could have, I don't know. But I purposely didn't want to push that with her because I didn't want her growing up to think that she was that being a female was just about a man and motherhood. So those two particular things I purposely kept away from my daughter, and she's very much a Gen Zer. Like my daughter is very, I mean, my daughter has no desire to get married, and I'm not even saying that that's a good thing. That's her choice. She's still young, and if that's something she ever decides to do or whatever, then that's on her. But it's not like this dreamy fairy tale stuff that we had where she would be going into it with her eyes closed and just completely fantasy, fantasy, fantasy. So, getting back to the movement that these men did. Now, the, the divine feminine age movement, all of this is helping to push us. I might as well say it's pushing a cleanup of all of the stuff that was done and flipped backwards and turned upside down and everything. It's like mama's home, mama finna clean the house. Okay, so mama been gone to work all day long, and y'all have basically, I come back to the house and y'all ain't did nothing. Nothing has been done. Everything is out of order. Everything is unclean. Everything that should be done is not done. And so mama got to clean. And people who help make the mess, what's gonna happen? We already know. If you got any kind of a mama, you already know it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be some punishments. That's the way I see this movement. That's the way I see this movement, and I don't see men who continue with that philosophy, men who have embraced that philosophy, men who help push that movement of hating women, discarding women, being, I mean, these guys really feel and felt justified in the things that they were doing. And then you got Kevin Samuels and those like him, who helped to push that. They were anti-marriage, they were anti-family, they were anti-single mom, and they were out here perpetrating those things to help contribute to women's damage and demise and all of this, you know? In so many ways. I mean, like I don't there's millions of instances that we can go right now on social media and just pull up all kinds of instances and you'll see it for yourself. Um but you can't live that way and do those things and behave those kind of ways knowing that they're wrong and think it's going to be okay. And you know I've said it in my spirit long time ago, and once again I have to say, many times, sometimes I didn't have time to really make a video when I really needed or wanted to make a video about something. I didn't always have time because I was working quite a bit, and so then it's like weeks or whatever go on, and then it's just still in my head. But you know I've thought this for a while. I've really thought this for a while of how these men are going to have, well, some people calling it winter. Some people are calling it winter. But it's a payday. It's a payday and you got to pay. And I saw a clip of a video where this woman was talking about the influx right now of black men being, well, of being sick, being homeless, going into nursing homes at like in their late 40s, um, because they have no family. They have nobody to take care of them. They're not married. They don't have no wives. Because these men, as we already know, like I'm saying, have been so against that. They've been against that. Um, I work in healthcare. I work in that type of a sect. So of course I don't see it as much here because this is kind of more of a kind of white state. I hate to say it like that, but it's not like a lot of black people here. So it's not going to be like what you probably see in the South or maybe some eastern states or things like that, where the population of black people is more. But I do see them. I have seen them. Matter of fact, I think I did a video a while ago. I can't remember the name of it, but I talked about this black man, one in particular. They're you know, one in particular who was just the way he acted and treated me, and and the nasty looks this man would give me. This man on the Alzheimer's unit, and I talked about how he had this sitter from the agency who was a black African woman, and he would get that woman so much trouble. He would not stay in his room. Like he would get up and leave. Like I don't he was confused and all this stuff, but um that wasn't that it was I felt in my spirit it was more to that. And then whenever they would assign him a Hispanic or like one of the white caregivers or something like that to come and sit with him, that man stayed in his room all day. He was fine. He was good. He was at peace. He was. And so I see it. I see them coming in. And they're coming in really almost younger and younger. And, really, if you look at this thing, you'll if you really look at this thing for what it is, you'll see a lot of black men starting in their 40s are sick. From 45 on, there's so many black men that are sick, impotent, and impotent because so many of them are stressed and have diabetes and have high blood pressure and they own all this medication and stuff like that. And that stuff does nothing but kill their sex drive and basically turns them impotent, which causes them to be more frustrated. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is all these things are payback. All these things are things that these men are going to have to live with and suffer through for their actions. While you have women who are more healthy, who are living their best life. Women are going, taking trips, they getting passports, going overseas, they're buying businesses, they are um, opening up very profitable businesses and things like that. And it's not going to be long if you ask me. Part of the divine feminine, uh, part of what I see happening, and this is personal with me, part of what I see happening is a lot of these men who have, like I did a video earlier talking about, black men standing up on the side of the wall and, in the community just causing crime and doing all of the mischief, the thefts, the burglaries, just completely have people traumatized in the neighborhood. These men gonna get older. These men are gonna get sick. These men are not gonna have anybody. And most of them will die from loneliness just because of that. We keep seeing these articles. Psychology Today, we keep seeing these articles about these lonely men. Men are not meant to be alone like that with no purpose. They don't do well like women. Women thrive. Women can make it happen. Women are going to survive. But men are not built like that. And I knew, and probably a whole lot of other women knew, listening to people like Kevin Samuels and all these other men, oh, y'all leave these females alone, and you the prize, and she need to come to you, and you get your own, and you blah blah blah, and these women ain't that. And okay, that's fine. Stay away from us, go your own way, all of that. But you're not gonna survive. You're not gonna thrive like women do. Men, I got a cousin right now who I love to death. He is an older man at this point because he's way older than me. But and I love him. I'm not saying unbashing him or any of that. But at the end of the day, this man has a big, beautiful 4-bedroom home in a nice neighborhood, and he by himself. He has a girlfriend and all this. So I'm not even saying, you know, and I have to speak up for him and a few other men in my family. A lot of them don't subscribe to that type of foolishness. So I do have to say that. But at the end of the day, yeah, he's in a big, beautiful 4-bedroom home all by himself. No woman, no nothing. And there's a lot of this. And it's like these men, so many of these men have been told, get your own, do your own thing. So you got an apartment, you got a car, you got a job, you got all of this beautiful whatever, and you in it by yourself. And you can have as many women as you want to coming in and out there, jumping in and out your bed, whatever. It's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling like having somebody there that you know loves you and that you know want to be there and having a family. Men used to have a purpose by getting up, going out, working hard, and having families and producing. That used to be what gave men purpose. At this point in time, what gives a man purpose? I dated a guy. I don't really know if I really dated him or if this was just kind of a getting to know you type thing. I don't remember. But at the end of the day, I remember having conversation with this guy this guy was so depressed. He was so depressed. And we would talk and everything. And we talked about him being depressed. And he was like, he made good money. He get fat checks and he takes care of himself. He's self-sufficient. He has all these things, and he's single and dating. And I don't really know if we ever got to whether he wanted to get married or anything like that. I don't know if we ever got to that part. But I remember him telling me how he just comes home to an empty house. And that's why he dated so much, like not to feel alone. He just dated, you know? And but he says he felt like, what's the purpose of having all of this, having the money, having whatever else he had. He didn't have any needs that he really needed, like financially and stuff like that. Like he had everything, but he felt like he didn't have a purpose. Like, I don't have anybody that cares about me, loves me, and that's with me to share these things with. That's what he said. And I was just like, man, that was so sad. But men like Kevin Samuels, those who put out the stuff of that movement that is still going on. But I feel like, and I've said it before, these men were causing so much damage to men, so much damage to men that men are now beginning to look back, hindsight 2020, and see, what did listening to that do to you? Like, what did listening to all that rhetoric, where did it get you? You're still lonely. You still deep down in your heart want a woman. You still don't want to be alone. Even if you rack up all of this whatever for yourself, by yourself, whatever, you're still gonna basically die alone. I mean, I mean, you're still not going to have anything. No fulfillment in your life. No family legacy. No, none of this. Just a single man making six figures somewhere out by yourself. Like, no purpose. It's no purpose. And like I keep saying, men can say whatever they want. They can say it however they want to say it. There is no fulfillment in men who live alone and have a lonely type of lifestyle like that. They're not. Women can cope so much better being single, and so much because women form groups, women have friends and all this kind of stuff. These dudes may say they have their little friends or whatever, they buddies or whatever, but at the end of the day, they buddies aren't flying on trips with them and making their life fulfilled. And I mean, they might sit at home in a man cave and all that, and after a while, even that, if you're a straight man, is gonna become a little like, dang, I'm sick of seeing dudes all day, like, and so at the end of the day, it gets all very unfulfilling. It really does. But I see the divine feminine in this age beginning the push, beginning the movement. um I see a lot of cleanup coming, and the cleanup is not going to be good and happy and all that. A lot of stuff is going to have to take place before, you know, things are set back in order. And I don't know how long that's going to take. But it's good to see it. It's good to see the beginning of it. It absolutely is. And that push of the divine feminine, that push of the energy that I see within women is going to make a lot of changes. And a lot of these men are already beginning to bite their tongue. And they're already beginning to say stuff. I mean, I actually heard a video clip of some, oh, marriage is good. You need to go find yourself a woman. You need to go and get yourself a good one. Oh, now y'all want a good woman. Because I thought all these bitches were loyal. I thought all these hoes were loyal. I thought, women ain't shit. I thought, women just give you headaches. I thought women just cause you trouble. I thought these women ain't worth nothing. I thought these women didn't have no. I mean, this is what y'all have been saying. Now all of a sudden, how y'all see this speeding up of men getting sick and men getting old and men not having any value, and all of the stuff that these men, these gurus are telling y'all to follow after is not fulfilling. All of a sudden, oh, marriage is a good thing. You need to have somebody with you. What happened if you get sick? And I'm telling you, like I'm just saying, black men starting in their 40s are getting sick. By the time a lot of black men are in their 50s already, they are gray headed. They got gray beards. They are completely gray headed. Like, they look so old. They look so old. And many of them are still mean and hateful, which is half the reason why don't nobody want to deal with them. I'm going to tell y'all this. I have never seen in the many years that I've worked in um, geriatrics or in the field of dealing with, the elders and things like that. I have never seen, and I've worked in different states, I've never seen a black man in a nursing home or in an assisted living or whatever be visited by his boys. All these ones who are so faithful and they there when you got money and all that, and my boys, and bros over hoes and all that. I've never to date seen an old black man with his boys that came to visit him. Not one time. Not one time. Now, black women, some of the ones that are in there, I mean, they got their family, they got their children, they got extended family. Um, Many of them have friends, old friends that have they've been knowing each other 20, 30 years, whatever. They come see them. They come see them. So at the end of the day, these guys have been lied to. That whole movement was a lie. That whole movement was delusion. It's still delusion. And any of those who are still locked up in that mess, I don't know. I don't know if you can get out. I don't know if it's too late, but I know that mama's home. That's what I do know. And hope she have mercy on you. That's all I can say. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you'll know when I upload a video. Leave me a comment. Let me know if if you actually understand uh, what I'm saying. What I'm saying. I will say this though too. When it's all over, I think it's gonna be beautiful. I think it's really gonna be beautiful. Um, things are gonna be set in order. Uh, it's gonna be some slashes and some licks that's gonna have to be taken, but men are going to get back in their place. It's gonna get back to a time. Do y'all remember those old Western movies? And y'all might think I'm just hear me out. Do y'all remember those old Western movies where they used to have those old bar fights and the men were fighting over the women and protecting women's honor and everything? Just watch. We're getting back to that time. We're getting back to that time. Call me crazy, call me delusional, call whatever you want. Men are going to see how much they need women and how much women are now needed, period. And you can't just completely ignore the divine feminine and her purpose here and her reasoning here and her work here and stomp on women and just act like you don't need women and everything is going to be good. Who wants to live in a world where it's full of patriarchy and it's nothing but just men, 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 men head, men to this, men, men? It's not the order. I don't care what people say, what people think. That's not the order. Men and women were here together to each do the role that they were assigned to do. And the role has been completely stomped out by patriarchy and by men being overbearing and men completely taking women out of just completely out of stuff. And it's been going on for centuries. And now look at what we have. We have a mess. We have a mess. We have a complete and utter mess. You guys, until the next video, we'll see you next time.